Super Friends, the legendary Superpowers Show.
Welcome back to Retro Wednesday at the Tidarium Hangar. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about the Kenner Superpowers line. The entire collection. This is going to be the ultimate collector's guide to Kenner Superpowers because obviously McFarlane has resurrected this line from the dead. It's pretty exciting going forward. Trying to figure out what he's going to make. Well, let's look back on what already was made. And let's enjoy this Retro Wednesday with all 33 Superpowers characters, action figures, handful of vehicles, and the playset. Coming up! Okay, first we're going to start out with Aquaman, and the thing about this is that this toy line is about 5 inch tall. They are taller than G.I. Joe's and, well, about the same height as Kenner's Robocop figures. Aquaman is a pretty interesting figure, and he actually, well, Aquaman sucks. No, this is actually a pretty interesting Aquaman, and he comes with his trident, which is pretty cool. It's an interesting accessory that is kind of getting harder and harder to find these days. And this Aquaman here is, I'm having trouble getting him to stand. I had a couple, this is the best one, but they all have some trouble standing. He does have these rear fins on him. Now you are going to see that they have, what is it, like 7 points of articulation, because the head moves, the arms move, and the legs move, and they have knee articulation. But the big gimmick here, because these all have some sort of a big gimmick, and with this one, he swims. So that's swimming, not running, just so you know. So to define the difference between swimming and running, he's Aquaman, so his is a swim. So a pretty cool figure, so let's move on. There's quite a few figures. Next up on the list here, we have Batman. Now, Batman is pretty interesting with the color scheme that they used here. Of course, it's got that gray with the light blue, and as you can see with the Todd McFarlane, he used a darker blue. And this cape, the cape itself is soft cloth, which I like so much better than what's going on today. Now, he does look pretty good, and he has a nice paint job right here with his symbol, and he's got paint down here, so all of that looks great. It's pretty awesome figure, but his bat punch, I don't know exactly what they call it, but he does this. Same thing you're going to see with most of these superpowers. Either the arms, squeeze the legs, the arms move, squeeze the arms, legs move. That kind of stuff. But Batman actually has a Batmobile. So we're going to try to incorporate the vehicles when it comes to the character associated with said vehicle. Let's go ahead and bring in the Batmobile. And here is said Batmobile. Now, at first I thought it was kind of a cheesy Batmobile, and I really didn't seem to care much for it. But as time went by, I started to appreciate this thing. It looks really cool. You got well, is that a sticker? Not tampograph, it's a sticker. And then you've got some chrome rims, and these windshields are really hard to find intact. Sometimes you find them cracked and all that kind of stuff. So anyhow, let's kind of see what all this does. So looking at the driver's seat, the cockpit, you see a steering wheel that's shaped like a bat, if you can see that. You have the controls, which they actually do control stuff. So we can flip up the headlights, which you can barely even tell that you flip the headlights up by flipping that switch. And you got that little bit of headlights that flipped up on that. So let's pull this back, and then this other lever in here is a ramming function, so you can ram some stuff, which is okay. And then lastly, there's this other button right here, which is going to pop out this rear grabber. So let's see if the grabber does its job, and let's try it again. Also, nice stickers on the rear of the vehicle, and it's kind of cool shape to the rear of the vehicle. Let's see if the grabber does. Well, at least it knocked him over. Lastly, we have the Batcopter. I do hope that Todd McFarlane makes a Batcopter that is similar to the one we had in the past, but I doubt it. I really doubt he's going to make a Batcopter, but I hope he does, because that's a very elusive. They did reuse it later on and make it into an all-black version for the Dark Knight or something along those lines. So still pretty cool overall, and I wouldn't mind getting my hands on one, but it's not the end of the world. Still very interesting Batcopter. Not really fair to talk about Batman and not talk about Robin, so here's Robin, his Boy Wonder sidekick. Now, the one that they made for Toy Biz down the road looks very similar, as you can see. They look like almost exactly the same figure. How do you tell the difference between the two? You just flip them around to the back and get the capes out of the way. And the way you tell the difference is that this one has a lever on it and Kenner does not. So Toy Biz has the lever, Kenner does not. So see the back of the figure so you know you get the actual Kenner superpowers, if you care, if you care. The Toy Biz one is not bad. I don't have anything against it. It's just they're different. So his function is his chop, karate chop. And it's interesting too because you can kind of move the arm. Well, you probably shouldn't, but you can move the arm to different directions, and then it chops slightly from a different angle and all, or not angle, but it just can chop differently. So he does look pretty good. He has pretty good paint all over him. This is when I think of a Robin. This is the classic Robin that I look for and I like. So pretty cool overall. That's Robin. Next up on the list is Brainiac, which is kind of an interesting character, kind of a cool character. He's got like a bluish vac metallized chrome on him. He does have some red paint on the shoulders and kind of looks like he's computerized and digitized. Mine's probably not in the best shape. Again, I was trying to get the cheapest ones I could. Now he does have this kick and it is really scary trying to get this kick working. I don't know, it's a bionic kick or something like that from Brainiac's kick. So cool looking figure. This arm usually breaks because when you put pressure on this, you put pressure on this arm, and it wasn't designed to handle that pressure, and I'm pretty sure mine was broken, but it still sort of hangs on there. I guess that's the hardest part to get, oddly enough, is a body part on him, his arm. Now, I recently picked up this guy, this Brainiac, and this one was made from, I don't know, Mattel, DC Direct, something along those lines, and so pretty cool looking modern take. I think I just like how they got the brain in there and all that kind of stuff. So modern iterations of these, pretty cool. Brainiac, excellent figure. Let's see what's next. All right, next up we've got the Flash. Now the Flash is a very quintessential character and looks really good. I do kind of like how he has this lightning bolt in there and he's got lightning bolts on the side of his head. And yeah, just real simple. One of the cheaper figures to get out there. Probably a little bit more common. He does have that running gimmick. And so pretty cool overall. And yeah, really good. It's so classic. It's one of those that you need in your collection. And he's not going to be hard to find. He's not too expensive. I guess it comes down to condition. And I will talk about this as we go. With these figures, it does all come down to condition. You can score a beat up one of these for like $8, but a really good condition one could cost you like 30. So yeah, with all these figures, and if the mechanism works. So you always want to ask, does the mechanism work? Next up on the list, we have Green Lantern. Green Lantern, I think it's Hal Jordan. I keep saying everything's Hal Jordan, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't really know. I'm not the hugest Green Lantern fan, but the figure's pretty cool, and of course you have to have this character to have a complete set of Kenner superpowers. Now he does look pretty good. He looks the part, and I think this is the one they recolored him to make him the Joker and only released him in certain countries, and it wasn't the US, so it was really hard to get. I think people make custom Jokers out of this body or something along those lines, but this is the one from Toy Biz. So anyhow, still pretty cool overall, and he does have his Green Lantern with him, and he does one thing. He does a Green Lantern power punch. He's got that ring too, so it's like, talk to the ring. Wouldn't it be cool if like something shot out of there? I guess I could make an effect, but I don't think I have time for all that. Anyway, pretty cool looking figure overall. Green Lantern. We did get a new Green Lantern recently from Todd McFarlane, and I imagine we're gonna get. I hear we're getting 3 new Green Lanterns total, so we're gonna have 3 more Green Lanterns to add to this collection in the future. But this is the original from back in 1984. All right, here is Hawkman, and Hawkman is pretty cool because he's got some flapping wings and he's got this giant mace, whatever. So, spiky ball mace thing. Now, his head is pretty cool. He's got a lot of paint on it and he's got these giant wings. Very quintessential Hawkman, and I like him. You squeeze the legs and it makes the wings move so he can fly. Look, I'm flying. So that works. So you always, of course, want to make sure that that function works, and getting good wings and wings that aren't broken, that fit in there and all that kind of stuff. So it can be a challenge sometimes. Hawkman seems to be one that without his wings or his little mace thing is actually pretty cheap to get, so getting them complete was a challenge. It was a challenge for me. I had a wingless, maceless Hawkman for over a year until finally I actually had to buy one more or less complete down the day. And it's kind of a challenge to get him to stand. Well, anyway, there he is, Hawkman. Pretty cool, interesting figure from back in the day and very classic retro. So next up we have the Joker. Now I'm starting to see some holes in my collection, some gaps, and a little frustrating, but Joker, pretty cool. Now this is not the same Joker that came with the Toy Biz 1989 line. This is a completely different one, different sculpt, everything about it. He does have his mallet that he does like to slam down. He does it like this. Whack, 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 whack. Okay. So pretty cool. I'm missing his tails. I have his tails somewhere. I know for a fact I have them, and I don't know why they're not on him. And I until this moment, I thought they were on him. So kind of frustrating, but it's one of those things you want to make sure he's got his tails with him, and he's got his green mallet and all of that kind of fun stuff. But still, pretty cool figure from back in the day. Joker, classic. And I think we've all been trying to get a better version than this all of our lives. Does it even exist in the modern day? Who knows? Okay, so here is Lex Luthor from 1984, Kenner Superpowers, and pretty uninteresting. I would have actually rather had him in a suit, but of course we've got him in this armor, and I don't know how hard it is to get this off, but he's got this chest protector shield piece. Maybe it's made completely out of kryptonite. I don't know, but it is green, so I imagine he's got a whole kryptonite suit. And he does this. So he does the same thing Superman does, but he's going to beat Superman because he has kryptonite, I guess. And pretty interesting face. And I don't really know if that really is the actor, but lots of paint, lots of color breakup on this guy. But still underwhelming for the character in my mind. Would have probably been in a suit, kind of like Clark Kent or something along those lines. But maybe they just felt like kids wouldn't want a figure in a suit. Who knows? But still, pretty cool looking overall. And let's look into his vehicle. This is called the Lex Luthor 7. Now, I had this already in a collection, and so I didn't go after, like, getting one. So the one I already had was missing one of these seatbelt looking things. He kind of goes in here, and that's how he fits in there. He has a pretty cool little feature. Well, I don't know if you'd say it's cool, but he has kind of a grabber for the Lex Luthor 7. You squeeze this, you can come down and pick up Superman wherever he left off. Also, there's a compartment here, there's some guns, and the coolest part would be the kryptonite if I had it. So it didn't come with this one, and I didn't chase it down. People want like 25 bucks for a piece of kryptonite. I just think that's crazy. But I figured I'd run across a lot that had it in it, and I was getting stuff I needed, but I never did. So that's just the way it worked out. Here we go with the Penguin. Penguin's kind of a cool one that we all remember from back in the day, and he does come with his umbrella, and I think that he's supposed to lift his umbrella. It's one I do. I guess if it's brand new, it has this label in here showing you how to insert your umbrella, and of course with the feature, the classic feature, he's got a gun or knife or something coming out of his umbrella. So pretty cool. I guess you want to have him hold it at the lower part and extend it. I think this one is pretty much like brand new. So I was the longest time without an umbrella, finally got one. So pretty cool overall. I think that he holds better if you have him hold it right here. He'll hold it better. Now, looking at him, he does have kind of a monocle going on, a crazy looking face, top hat. Does have his removable tails just like the Joker, and I don't know where my Joker ones went. Still pretty cool figure overall, and I think Toy Biz one that they made, I think they made a different one, slightly different, and they made one in black. So, but this is the Kenner one, and the umbrella is almost completely different on the Toy Biz one also. Next up is Superman. I have a few Supermen, and the thing about Superman is the fact that he is probably the best figure in the line. he's my favorite. Probably not the best, okay, my favorite. Now, he looks really good. Not exactly Christopher Reeve, more based off the cartoon, of course. So he's not the Christopher Reeve version. Now, he does come with this cape, and it's kind of embroidered on the back, and this is an original. Now, I do have several of the Cape Master capes. Cape Master on eBay does fantastic work right there. And so, as you can see, you can squeeze the legs, and he does looks like he's running well. It's a super punch is what I think they call that. So, pretty cool, just classic Superman, and that's when I get a modern Superman, I kind of chase those down and want to get a modern Superman. Now, let's look at his vehicle. So this is a Supermobile from back in the day. Very simple. It's got a little top fin to it. And this is another one that I already had. I bought in a lot years ago, like 2015 or something. And I actually didn't even know what it was. I was like, what is this? And so it does have a feature where a ramming feature where you push the button in the back. And so that's why when you see the modern Supermobile, like, man, that thing's cheesy. Because this was cheesy. So this is how it goes. Now, he does have these little ports down here where it shows on the box, on the packaging, like a bad guy stuck in there. So you can fly around with a bad guy stuck in there or whatever. I don't really know the play gimmick, but I mean, it is a play gimmick. So I could see kids having fun with that. Probably not me. But McFarlane went one step further. When you push the little super, it pops the canopy open, but I hear that function breaks very easily, and then your canopy just doesn't stay down. So I don't know. I don't know if progress was good in that department, but this is the good old-fashioned Kenner, and everything still works on it. There's the Justice Jogger, and people say that it makes no sense. Well, it makes a lot of sense, because he just came across Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor was wearing a shield made of kryptonite, or he pulled the kryptonite out of his Lex Luthor 7 or something. So anyway, Lex Luthor 1, Lex Luthor 7. It's pretty cool. There's like some stickers on the side, on the back here. Okay, ultimately, this is the dumbest vehicle ever made. But it's so dumb that it's interesting to just see what it does. And it winds up, so you wind this up here. Wind, wind, wind. And this thing gets after it. Okay, it got after it before I put Superman on it. It gets after it, doesn't it? It goes really good when you don't have a figure on it, but I guess it slows down when you get a figure on it. I don't know. Pretty cool. Superman and his vehicles. Next up we have Wonder Woman. She is probably one of the sleeper hits of this toy line. I didn't realize how cool she was, how great of a job they did with her, and I think you kind of have to see the Toy Biz one to see how great of a job they did with her. So she looks very good, very delicate, very fragile. The mechanism breaks very easily in her, but I like these really long boots of hers, and then she's dressed accordingly. She doesn't wear some extra long, whatever reason, skirt these days. She's dressed like the classic Wonder Woman character. So you can actually celebrate the female form with this figure, and so looking at this from the back, her hair looks good, everything the way it should be, and I'm not even sure that this figure, if it's sold well or poorly, you can get her for different prices in varying conditions. Now, I have several of her, and as you can see with this one, well, you probably can't see, she's not in that great a condition. I think this one's in better condition. The lighting probably doesn't show it, but this one here in worse condition has better action feature. So it's supposed to kind of go up and all the way like this. So it's really a stretch this day and age to get one that goes up that high, but I'm pretty close. So really, it's an interesting action feature. And she does come with this lasso. Now, this is a Cape Master Repro lasso, and of course, it was free. He throws it in when you buy so much from him. So pretty cool there. I don't have a real lasso, and I don't even care because I don't really see the point. It looks good enough. It looks pretty cool. Great looking figure. Now, looking at the Toy Biz version, let's do a quick side-by-side before we move on. And the Toy Biz version looks ugly. Ugly as sin, if you really think about it. Let's see. The face does not look nearly as good. The body proportions, it's just not right. I don't know. I kind of think that the Superpowers one did it right. And you'd think Toy Biz come along, they could make an improvement, but they make it worse. And then that's her feature. So that's kind of how you know the difference. I mean, when you're looking online, sometimes you don't know. The difference is Toy Biz usually has some sort of something in the back, some sort of lever in the back, and this one just looks just worse. Since kids did not like playing with a figure in a suit, let's give them Clark Kent as a melloway. Well, so Clark Kent was actually supposed to be part of the main line for another series down the road, Series 3 or something like that, and they decided not to for whatever reason. So with this, though, he does look pretty good overall. He does have a different head sculpt than Superman. Superman's head sculpt looks like Superman. Clark Kent looks like Clark Kent. So they are different heads. So you know, he's in disguise, and that's a pretty good disguise. Pretty solid figure overall, and still does the same quintessential power punch. Now he's running to the phone booth. Do y'all even know what a phone booth is these days? He's running to the phone booth to turn into Superman. That's pretty much what he is. Really cool figure. Really excited to have him. It was a long time for me to track one down in good condition. And again, it's another one that everyone wants over 50 bucks for this guy, even if he's beat up and trashed. So it takes a long time to find a good one for a good price. Next up on the list is Darkseid from 1985. Clark Kent was the first one on the 1985 list. I guess I should have pointed that out. So here we go with the biggest figure in the line, I believe. The tallest, biggest, the most mass, and not really that expensive. So pretty easy to get one. Probably not as easy to get the cape. Some guy seems to have some new old stock capes on eBay lately, I've been noticing, which is kind of fun. Squeeze the legs and he's like, blam! It's all going down. He does have what appears to be some light piping. How can I pipe that light in there? Well, anyway, he's got some light piping eyes. You can sort of see the glow in it. And pretty cool. They got to put some new features in and spice it up. His cape does have this little weird looking piece right here. He's got a nice little medallion to hang in there. And spice things up too. Looks pretty good. Big, beefy, solid, massive figure. He also comes with the vehicle of his, which is really strange, and it's the Darkseid Destroyer, and it's just kind of like his center piece where he rides, and then figures right on the wings, and he's got some guns and stuff. I just don't see the point of that. It's so big, I don't know where I'd display that, and it's just kind of cheesy, but at the end of the day, cheesy is what the line's about, right? Right here is Dasad, which is a very confusing action figure for the most part, but he has this giant contraption, vac metalized, that's on him. So it seems like it's an air conditioning system. I don't know what exactly it is, but he's got these vents that vent out or whatever they're doing. Really nice, though. I like the vac metalized, the use of that from back in the 80s. It's something that we kind of took for granted back then. He's got these handles, these control pieces. He's got this skirt. Nice skirt. And then some detail on the legs down there. So still an interesting character that I have zero attachment to, but a cool Kenner figure. I wouldn't really know about this character at all if it wasn't for Kenner Superpowers. So shout out to Kenner Superpowers for making this guy, and pretty interesting. Dasad. Okay, so this is Dr. Fate, and a lot of times for whatever reason I kind of get this confused with one of the other ones. So he is an interesting figure. Again, I don't know much about the character, and probably wouldn't even own a copy of the character if it wasn't for Kenner Superpowers having it in their 33. So I thought, man, 33 characters wouldn't be that hard to find. He's one that's a little bit tricky to find with his cape and all that kind of stuff. And he does have a little bit on the back. I don't know if he reused parts, because he looks a lot like he's got some like Superman, and he's got the collar that looks like it goes with Robin and kind of stuff like that. But I doubt they actually reused parts. Maybe they did. But he does have his similar action feature. He lifts both arms at the same time instead of alternate. It's like it's a dance step. Ooh, 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 ooh. So strange, but that's the same thing that we got to see on Darkseid, and it's interesting that they introduced slightly different kind of action features for the 1985 line, and a pretty cool looking figure overall. Does sort of break up some color breakup in your Superpowers collection because of the blue and the yellow and all that kind of stuff. So looks pretty cool, and his face, the giant helmet, that's pretty cool. Mr. Fate here, Dr. Fate. With Firestorm, and Firestorm is a pretty cool looking figure overall, and he's got kind of a flame coming out of his head. He's got some glasses on and all kinds of different colors and straps looking stuff that's on him. So he's got this giant harness, And yeah, very quintessential superpowers. Does the Superman Firestorm punch, and this one works really well. So it's quite satisfying when these work really well, but kind of feels like LJN. LJN copied Kenner. Is that what's going on here? So LJN has that whole Battlematic action, but Kenner doesn't call it Battlematic. Anyway, still Firestorm looking pretty cool, pretty interesting overall. Firestorm. Then we get into Green Arrow, which is the most expensive, cheap Kenner Superpowers figure that's out there. The figure himself is not very expensive. It's the bow and arrow that gets expensive. I wish I would have known that early on, because I saw a lot of good deals in the early day and thought it was too expensive, which now would be a super good deal. But anyway, he does. The cool thing about this is it makes a lot of sense the way he draws his bow with his action feature, and he's going to need a little help. Oh man, he worked so much better than this off camera. So he just kind of goes up and draws his bow, and that's his action feature when you squeeze the legs. So with that, it does have a little clip where you can clip the bow in, and he comes with a total of 3 arrows, so you can put. I will not lose these, so I store them in other bows. So yep, just stores right there. Looks like you could put like 20 of them, but they give you a total of 3. And most of them are lost. They're almost impossible to get. And to get 3 took me 2 years. I guess it could take you 2 years, or you could spend like $200, because it's crazy getting these stupid little arrows. But the truth is, they're really cool. And the figure himself, I like the color breakup with the 3 different greens that's on it. And the face looks really good. So overall, I think Kenner nailed this character. We've all been trying to get a better representation since Kenner nailed Green Arrow from day one, and it's really hard to beat. Okay, so this is Callback, and Callback is a monster of a beast of a figure, but not as big as Darkseid, but he is pretty massive. And to have giant bad guys to go up against is kind of fun in a way, so I kind of like that overall. So looking at this dude here, he looks pretty menacing. He's got some paint apps on him and cool stuff like that. And when you pull this, it's supposed to make his arms go up, I believe. I actually pulled this and the leg came off. I like to test these out and say, hey, what does the feature do? But the leg came off, so it popped back on. So that's one good thing about Kenner's designs, but I guess mine either doesn't work or the leg just isn't strong enough to make the feature work. So anyhow, he does come with this. I don't know what this is. It's like a bomb. It's like a multi. Is it a lightsaber? Is it a lightsaber hilt? I don't know. But is it brass knuckles? What could it be? Still, it's pretty cool. It's an interesting figure overall, Callback. Now, Callback did come with the Callback Boulder Basher thing. It's called the Boulder Bomber, and it's another one of those things. I don't want to say that it's cheesy. It's campy. It's just different, unnecessary, but again, it's just toys, so kids can have the bad guys bring the heat, so the good guys can win, and Superman can destroy it and all that kind of stuff. So the Boulder Bomber, that's another vehicle in Kenner Superpowers. If you want to know what sci-fi nightmares are made of, this is Mantis, and he is very interesting, very sci-fi looking overall, so pretty cool. Lots of paint, a lot of color breakup with the green and the yellow, and he's got some crazy looking eyes. Does look sort of like an insect, but a superhero, super villain, I guess, with his backpack, and this is kind of some flexible plastic I think they glued on. So really kind of cool. He's got some little indentations right there. He can like do a super, like he can chop you like that. And of course he's doing the quintessential Superman dance. So pretty cool overall. This is one of those figures that I actually wasn't going to complete this line, and I wasn't going to get him, but I ended up getting one in a lot, and I thought, man, this actually is a cool figure. I thought it was kind of goofy looking when I first saw it, but now that I have it, and I got one in pretty good shape, and everything works, I think it's a really cool character, Mantis. This is Martian Manhunter. Mine's in pretty rough shape, but I got him in a lot. I wasn't even looking for him. I just was buying other stuff, and he was just mixed into it, and I was like, I don't even know who this is. Tossed him aside. Started collecting superpowers. I'm like, hey, I got that guy. So that's how I like to collect sometimes. So it worked out. Now, he's real loosey-goosey, my copy, but Still looks pretty good. I don't know if the cape is supposed to be that frayed, and I see people have the cape up like this around his head, so I don't know if that's exactly how it's supposed to be or not, but that's how I'm going to display it. Cape's really rough shape, and then he's got some straps and stuff on here. Nice looking silver for the belt buckle, kind of plain on the back, and the action feature still works, but barely. He just kind of does this. I don't know why. I can get these features to work off camera better than on camera, but anyway, that's just how it goes. Martian Manhunter out there hunting down some Martians or some men. Okay, next on the list we have Parademon, and Parademon is a pretty cool, crazy, wild-looking figure, and another one that's, I would say, is not too hard to get, but then hard to get is stupid little gun. I actually picked up the gun in a lot of weapons for another toy line, and this toy line is crazy. Like, if you get some old G.I. Joes, you might see these in there, or maybe as much as Turtles, some of the stuff's in there. His action feature does this. He's like, flaps his wings to fly away. I actually came across quite a few of these, and the features didn't work. And so this feature works really well on this guy. And I got him super cheap, so I can't say that for the rest of these figures, though. They weren't super cheap. So pretty cool looking guy overall. And but mine doesn't want to stand very well. He's loosey-goosey. The more this feature gets used, the more the legs get loose, which is another problem with the action features. You see it in this guy, but Parademon, a lot of fun. One you might want to have like 6 of this figure in your display. I just don't have room for it. Okay, so we've got Red Tornado right here, and this is another one of the Cape Master specials. Fantastic job on this cape. I have no idea how he can reproduce this cape that looks so perfect, but it looks amazing with a new cape and all that kind of stuff. But the figure himself has quite a bit of paint on him, and it's like red and yellow color scheme. Cool looking face, nice arrow stripe mohawk he's got going on right there. And when you pull this leg, it's supposed to like twist him, or he twists and winds up, you pull it and he lets go and twists around. I don't know, because mine doesn't function. I got like a real cheap one in a lot, and then bought the cape for like 10 bucks and said call it a day. But maybe I'll upgrade down the road. I don't know yet. But he still looks good on the shelf, and I think that's really all that matters at the end of the day, that Red Tornado looks good on my shelf. There he is, Red Tornado. Okay, next up is Steppenwolf, and probably one of the cheaper figures to get complete and in good condition. He does come with this really interesting back metallized axe. Like, they went all out on that back metallized chrome on that axe right there. He has so many paint apps. He is a really cool looking guy. This goes back to why the villains have to look so good. And he does. He's an amazing looking figure for being a character I have zero interest in. And they just went all out. He's got this backpack on here that's molded in, and then this string that is stuck in there. My hand is really getting in the way there. String connected to his giant axe. And his action figure feature is this. Let's give him a little help. Is he lifts his axe. So, but still pretty cool figure. And some guy had a whole bunch of these, like new old stock, like still in a Kinder baggie and all that kind of stuff, selling them for like 17 bucks shipped. And I still passed on it. I was like, I don't need that. I've got one. It's not complete. I got one. I don't need that. I should have jumped on that. So I ended up getting this one down the road for about the same price, but it wasn't brand new. And it probably is nowhere near as good. I would like to have had that good action feature, the whole axe. Okay, so 1986 brought us Cyborg. This is a small Cyborg because he's a Teen Titan. This is not the Kinder one. Okay, so I'm going to show a picture of the Kinder one. The Kinder one is back metallized. They did a fantastic job. Has 3 hand attachments, swappable, kind of like the Cobra Bat, which evidently the Cobra Bat, I don't know which one came first, which one knocked each other off. Still really cool figure that's elusive to me. I am not going to spend the crazy prices people want today. And back 2020, when I amassed the majority of this collection, I could get one for about $300, and I still thought that was way too much. And you know what? Today, I still wouldn't want to spend $300. So I don't have one. I'll wait for a good reproduction, or I'll take whatever Todd McFarlane makes, or I'll just keep this Teen Titan guy. But a fantastic figure that they made with the back metallized chrome, the gray paint, massive. He's a big figure. He's a pretty awesome figure. But I'm not paying the secondary market prices for it. You might want to, but I sure don't. And so my stand-in will be my stand-in for the time being. Here is Cyclotron, which I think is a weird, strange figure that made no sense to me at first. And now he starts to make some sense. So here he is. I think he's a robot, and underneath this human facade is this. So he's still a pretty expensive figure, even without his face piece. But with his face piece, he's stupid expensive. So yeah, I think there's some reproductions out there. I've seen some reproduction parts. This is another one that I looked out. I was buying a whole lot of something else, and I was like, could that really be his face? That's my faceless one that was on the shelf for a year. Finally got a face, and yeah, I lucked out, and I was pretty excited. So, interesting color scheme, yellow and dark green. It's a hunter green that didn't really see its popularity height until the 90s when hunter green was very popular. This is a strange gimmick, though. You wind him around once, and he spins like 4 times. I don't understand it. I do not understand. I guess this is how Red Tornado is supposed to work. So now this makes me want to get another Red Tornado. But yeah, this guy, Cyclotron, as plain and boring and drab as he looks, has a lot of features to him. And that spinning action, how do you do it, Kenner? How do you turn him around once and he spins 4 times? So next up we have Golden Pharaoh, who is unique to the line in so many ways, with transparent pieces. The chest is transparent, the back is transparent, so like all of this, I guess the whole torso is transparent and they just painted around it or something along that line. So really strange right there, but an interesting figure. I have no idea about the character at all. Here he is from the back. You can see how he's transparent in the back, and mine's a little bit loose. He is an expensive one. Here is his staff. That's again hard to get. Well, it's something I've recently acquired. And then let's take maybe the action feature still works fine with it in there. So his action feature is simply that you pull it and his arms go up. But it seems like I'm just happy it works, and I don't want to test fate too much, Dr. Fates, with this guy. But he really is a rare one. There's not that many out there. He's not quite anywhere near cyborg status, but he is a bit of a challenge. Mine is a bit loose. I'm just happy to have one. So, and it took me a long time to track one down for reasonable price. But this guy fetches over $100 all day long. And with his staff, I don't know, they're asking dumb prices, but there are good reproduction staffs out there. And so with that, had I not tracked down an original for a decent price, I would have gotten the repro. Golden Pharaoh, interesting figure to the Superpowers line. Everybody freeze! Mr. Freeze. Now this isn't Arnold Schwarzenegger, this is a different Mr. Freeze. It actually looks like the same head that they used on Lex Luthor, but you can't really tell. And getting his helmet off, I would advise, I don't know if somebody glued it on or something, so I would advise that if it's on, leave it on. There's my advice for this guy. Looking pretty interesting overall. He does have these cloth straps that go through his back piece here, and then are, I don't know, melted in, sonic glued, welded, I don't know, into his lower legs. And then he does this. Get my hands out of the way. He does this. But if you look, his little guns in his torso are firing. They're alternate firing. Cool function. So, let me tell you. You're like, oh, that's a pretty cool figure, actually. I didn't think you did all that. Well, that's because you probably got this one. This is the Toy Biz one. The Toy Biz one is slightly shorter, has a clear helmet instead of the purple one, and I don't even know if you could swap those out either. And then, you know, one thing is, like, if you're really saying, I want the Kenner and not the Toy Biz, the Kenner has a full solid collar, and then the Toy Biz has this blue breakup right here. And then, like, everything else looks so identical. But then you also have the ropes. The rope piece that's on there. And I'm sure a Kenner one's around there that's missing that. But for the most part, the collar and the ropes are how you can easily tell the difference if they're missing the helmet. And then, okay, this is white on the back of the Toy Biz. This one is blue on the Kenner. So, still, though, I had this guy as my stand-in for 2 years. So, finally tracking down a decent representation for a, I don't know, it wasn't a good price. It was a price. Next up we have Mr. Miracle, and Mr. Miracle is a pretty cool figure. And it's one of those, okay, got a Cape Master cape on him. I mean, I'm trying to collect this line on a budget. And this dude looks pretty cool, pretty interesting, pretty sinister. He does have these handcuffs. A lot of times I see him in his handcuffs, so I don't understand the story behind that. He's supposed to handcuff himself, so he behaves, I guess. Is that a miracle? I don't know. And let's see, does my action feature work? I actually don't remember. No, it doesn't. Sad. Anyway, I'm sure his arms flail or something. I don't really know because my action feature stopped working. Another one of these expensive figures that people want stupid, ridiculous money for this day and age. And so I'm happy to have what I have, and I'm not paying stupid, ridiculous money to get a replacement on this that has a working action feature, but still excellent looking figure, and he does enhance your display quite a bit because he does look kind of cool. Next up is Orion. When I first started collecting this line, I thought, this guy isn't part of Superpowers. What do you mean, Orion, Superpowers figure? He is. He really is. It's really strange. He's got this giant helmet that's built in, and it's part of his feature. We were about to see that, and he's got a lot of colors on him. He's got red, white, and blue, like he's some sort of super American superhero, and he's not, is he? I don't really know much about him, but all I can say is that here, when you do his little, make his arm move, his face goes from, I'm Mr. Good Guy to, Mr. Bad Guy. And then he does, of course, the Superman shuffle. But you move his face back like this, and it'll stay. And that's how you do that. And then, Bad Guy. That's Orion. Interesting feature. Next up is Plastic Man. Wait, he's way up here. He's the tallest. Okay, Darkseid's not the tallest. Plastic Man's the tallest. I think they're about the same height until Plastic Man does his gimmick. Now, this is one that I never knew was made back in the Kenner era, and I got the cheap one with a missing arm. I guess somebody had glued an arm back on this guy, and that's cool, but where's the arm he glued back on? So the reason arms miss on this is because the action feature and the kids would press on this arm here that wasn't built to be pressed on when they would do the action feature. So that's why there's so many missing arms, and it is what it is. I consider upgrading on this guy too, but it's not worth it to me, not for today's prices. But cool looking dude overall, tall, skinny, slender, because he's Plastic Man, and they kind of already made him stretched out a bit. And then they said, well, hey, he can go gadget, head. And it works. So pretty cool looking figure. Eventually I'll upgrade, and I don't think I need to show a picture of what his other arm looks like. It's just the opposite of that, more or less. And I think he has more of a curved hand so he can sort of hold something. That's Plastic Man. All right, next up is Samurai. And Samurai is a pretty cool, interesting figure. And this is one of the ones where I actually have the original cape piece, the chest piece. But I bought the Cape Master one because it just looks nicer. Mine is in really bad condition. But I thought, hey, I'm going to display it with this, even though I know I have the real one. And here is the sword that Samurai comes with. Pretty cool looking sword overall. So Samurai is such a cool figure. Like back in the day, we had ninjas and all this kind of stuff. This is a samurai warrior, karate, and, well, I don't know. Does he do karate? So, cool looking figure. He's got some greens on him. It's supposed to be, I guess, the same greens, but that looks a little bit different. I see that on most of these. He does have this little bun up here. And my feature doesn't work. So, I believe it works the same as we saw with the Cyclotron. That's my belief on this guy. But I'm just happy that I've got one, and I try to work to get him to stand on his own, and he does. So, I'm happy with him. He's one of the more expensive, rare ones on the expensive side because he came later. He is in the 1986. But he's also really cool. People probably would like to have a couple of this guy. Up we have Shazam! Shazam! So, it's funny because the Shazam movie comes out, and that made me like this figure so much more, because I wasn't even going to pick him up, but I sort of enjoyed the movie, but then of course the copyright claim that hit me on making a video about it makes me not want to talk about Shazam anymore, or talk about any movies. Yeah, no copyright claims on me anymore, right? So, this is a whole lot of fun with the Superman gimmick, right? And really, it just looks like Superman with a new head and a cape. So, but, and it's different color scheme and all that kind of stuff. Still pretty cool overall. And I guess he doesn't exist anymore, though, in the Marvel universe, he doesn't exist. It's DC, right? But I don't really know about Captain Marvel. I thought this was supposed to be Captain Marvel. That's the story I heard. I don't really know, but there it is. Shazam! Next is Tear, and I guess it's pronounced tear, like a teardrop, like a Johnny Depp teardrop. And this guy is like a mean devil-looking dude. Like, he's red, and he's got this mustache that hasn't singed off just yet. And he needs some paint touch-up on his mohawk. Pretty cool, though, overall. Now, I don't have his missile for his launching mechanism. His mechanism is you stick the missile in there and launch it. That is another stupid expensive piece, and really not worth me going after. Maybe I will one day, but I'll show a picture up here right now. Now, this guy is pretty interesting looking and pretty cool, but, you know, coming close to the end of the line, he is harder to chase down. It's hard to get the figure and really hard to get the missile and the bomb, but still kind of fun, and you got to have it if you want to say you have a complete collection. I guess I could say I don't have a complete collection. I guess y'all could say my collection kind of sucks because I'm missing so many parts, huh? Okay, I already did a review of the Hall of Justice, but it's a pretty cool playset that doubles as a carrying case and has a whole lot going on inside there. And so with that, you can watch that review on YouTube of the Hall of Justice. And these days, this playset is getting harder and harder to find complete and more sought after. Playsets in general are so much harder to find this day and age than they were just 2 years ago. So kind of fun playset when I did the review in, I think, September of 2020, and so I think things have changed. Like, the market's drying up. It's so much harder to find these things now. Next up, we have the Delta Probe 1, and I can't even remember all the stuff that I did with this thing. How did I even get the figure in there? I forgot. But you've got some clear stuff on the top, the gun at the top, 2 guns at the side. Oh, that's how you do it. You push these guns down, and that's how you get to Robin. And I bet you this is another... Let's look. Oh, this is an actual Kenner Robin. Look, see? That's cool. Got a Kenner Robin in there. He wasn't in the greatest shape, so he's not sitting up front. He should belong in the Batmobile. But anyway, pretty cool. This bomb, I think it's all friction-based. How do you drop the bomb? Not really sure. It looks like this thing here is sort of friction-based to hold it in. I have trouble even keeping it held in, though, so... you have this holder right here, and then this piece here. Does this hold the bomb too? Yep, that holds the bomb. There you go. I take that back. I've been doing this wrong the whole time. All wrong this whole time. And then we got, I guess, another feature back here. You might ask, why is Riddler always getting in trouble? He just does. That's how you capture Delta Probe 1, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. There it goes. So I hope you enjoyed this look at Kenner Superpowers on this Retro Wednesday. This is pretty much everything they made back in the 80s. If I don't have it, I hopefully showed you a decent picture so you can have an idea what to expect that's out there. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below on this wonderful Retro Wednesday. Are you in on this line? Are you out on this line? Did Todd McFarlane get you to want to get back into this line? Or did Todd McFarlane turn you off completely? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Have your hanger out.
Faster than a speeding bullet.